welcome. It's wonderful to have so many people celebrating with us the launch of the 7th volume in a series which we started in 2017, which was the quincentenary of Martin Luther's publication of the 95 Theses. So by now we are at volume 7 in 2024, because we have tried to keep track of the development of the Reformation. And one of the key moments was when in 1522 Martin Luther translated the New Testament into German. This had a huge impact, literally with the printing, on a German reading audience. And among this audience was Hans Sachs, poet, cobbler, and impact manager for the artisans of Nurmberg. And he had been very productive writing poetry, dramas, and competing in the Singschulen. And he didn't write anything for 2 years because he was so absorbed by reading the New Testament translation. And then he published first a poem called Die Wittenbergische Nachtigall, the Nightingale from Wittenberg, an allegorical poem talking about Luther, and then followed with a prose dialogue where he actually did a kind of popular version of the academic debate, where he brought together as a kind of challenge as many quotations from the New Testament in Luther's translation as he could master, but presenting it as a comic dialogue between a cobbler, by chance, who is quite incidentally called Hans, and a pompous priest, a quire, canon, who hasn't read the Bible, only canon law. So who wins the day, you can guess. The canon is backed up by his cook, and the cobbler is backed up by the boy sweeping the fire, and both of them know more about the Bible than the canon. So we edited this volume from the copy of the Tellurian Library, but we integrated the pamphlets that are collected here in the Bodleian, who holds one of the largest collection of Reformation pamphlets, definitely in Britain, but also worldwide. They are collected in these huge tomes. You can see they are Sammelbände, and Philip is going to talk about how they are composed and what else they contain.
Thank you, Henrike. So all in all, there are 9 copies of Hans Sachs's Reformation Dialogues in Oxford, which were all printed in Germany in the year 1524, so exactly 500 years ago. 8 of these are bound together in this volume from the special collection, which is called Tractatus Lutherani, and then there's one copy in the Taylorian institution. And for example, there are 2 editions of this first dialogue here. We know that this one was printed in the German city of Bamberg, and this is from Augsburg. And you can play a game, spot the difference with these 2 later. All the 8 pamphlets which are part of this volume are here in facsimile for you to read through later. The most striking difference is, of course, that the Bodleian copy here has been coloured in, the woodcut has been coloured in, but it's not the only difference. And whoever did this used the pamphlet as a medium of aesthetic value and increased the visual impact of the thing. But the traces of the usage of earlier readers in these 8 pamphlets in this volume show also very different approaches to the medium of the pamphlet. For example, thank you, Alex, a reader who seems to have owned 3 of these copies annotated in the margins. And what he does is he starts a dialogue with the figures, with the characters of the dialogue of Hans Sachs's text. So, for example, here the canon mocks Hans Sachs the cobbler and the nightingale, which is an image to refer to Martin Luther. He says the nightingale and the cobbler should go to hell. And this reader in the margin, he says, Gemach, o Herrle, das wird eine seltsame Nachtigall sein, which is calmly, little man, Herrle is a diminutive. This is going to be a special nightingale. And if we leaf through further of the pages, we can see that this reader used leather tabs, which are permanently fixed to the pages to have these pamphlets bound in order and to make it more easy to work with them. So he changed quite a lot about them. He didn't keep them pristine, and these marginal glosses which he did, these marginal notes which he did, show a strong anti-Catholic impact, way of reacting to the text, which can also be seen in one of the title pages, which is where I'll end. This is another of the 4 dialogues Hans Sachs wrote in 1524, which involves 2 monks. And the monks, which are seen on the title page on the woodcut, they have again been colored in, but apparently the same reader drew a gallows in ink on the title page, on the image, and the two monks are hanged on this gallows with ink.
Yeah, so there were quite strong feelings attached to these pamphlets, and as Philip mentioned, the first dialogue isn't printed in Nurmberg because the town council, even though in only 1 year later it officially became Protestant as city, didn't want to lose any trade with both sides. So it held a very firm rule over what was printed. So it was printed, which is quite ironic, in the Catholic next place in Bamberg, where the bishop was, but the bishop had much less authority than the town council in Nuremberg, so the printers did whatever they wanted in Bamberg. But Hans Sachs then the printers in Nuremberg picked it up for the later dialogues, and they also printed this next volume, which is the Weissagung from Bapstumb, a prophecy about papacy, published in 1527, but pretending to be just a reprint of something from the 15th century. A prophecy und ist sehr alt, it says on the title page. It's very old, but Hans Sachs had to appear at the town council and was forbidden to reissue it. And you can find out why if you look at the dragon, which has a tiara, the paper crown, while his tail is sweeping the stars from the sky. And if you want to know more about it, ask Tom Wood, who has done his dissertation on Reformation dragons. The first dialogue made it across the channel via the Netherlands, and we have here 2 copies of the English translation, a godly disputation by one Anthony Scholocker. I first thought it must be a pseudonym for somebody who translates the dialogue about the shoemaker to be called Scholocker, but apparently he is a historic person. But it gets more and more riddled with difficulties in dating, because his Dutch source has a wrong printer attribution, a wrong date, again predating things to be out of, and these are dated both 1548, but the title already appears in the banned books list in 1546. So it must have been either around earlier, or the date must again be meddled with. I would encourage you to come and have a look. There are, and you can download the whole volume with all explanations if you just scan the QR code that will lead you through the open access publication. And as I said, you're welcome to go over after the coffee morning and print your own Reformation pamphlet. Thank you.